So I got one audio channel. But thanks so much for your patience. Okay, so... Alright, so... This is the Minish Cap tourney round 3 between Quo and Vlack. And basically... And, Mikkel, you there?
I'm here.
Alright, just want to double check, so this is round 3 between Quo and Vlack. It's going to be an exciting match. It's going to last between an hour and a half to 2 hours. We're going to see a lot of tricks, a lot of exciting stuff. Pretty hype end game, most likely. And I really hope you guys have fun watching, and thank you for your patience. I shall see you later.
Absolutely. What's up, Zelda fans? So yeah, we do have Quo versus Vlack here. Two top runners in this game. Vlack, I believe, is currently in 4th, and Quo is 6th or 7th. So it should be very high caliber runs on both ends, and will likely be very close. Vlack has a better PB, but a lot of people, when they're making the brackets, their bracket predictions for this tournament, actually had Quo winning this game, and that's because at the time Vlack was spending a lot of his effort in an Oracle of Seasons tournament, I believe, whereas Quo could focus entirely on this game. So a lot of people said Quo were going to win, including me, but we don't actually know. So both runners are doing a rupee manip right at the start. Looks like Vlack is going for a 20 rupee manip. You get 20 rupees from the chest, but then you can get 20 more from 4 blue rupees using a bunch of rolls, and that worked out for him. So he's got 40 rupees. He'll need a total of 60 before the second dungeon. Quo, on the other hand, actually goes for a 5 rupee manip, which is much easier to do, and yeah, it's basically free to get the 5 rupees. But he will be a little bit behind later on when he has to make up those extra rupees, 15. He'll have to go into a cave to grab those, whereas Vlack can just skip past them. So you have to give Vlack the early game advantage just based on that alone. Other than that, that starts off right away with that manip, so it's hard to bring up. Basically, you can manipulate the RNG in this game by resetting, which will reset the RNG seed. And then if you use specific sets of movements over a short period of time, then you can control what the RNG will do. And we'll be doing a few of those throughout the run. And I'll bring them up as we do.
If I just may interrupt, the timer hasn't started, so do you mind if I just quickly fix that?
I'm okay with that.
I need to temporarily turn off the stream for 5 seconds, is that okay? Because... Or just close the windows for 5 seconds, is that okay?
That's okay with me.
Alright, quickly. very sorry for the delay. It should go back to normal now. Very sorry about that.
Alrighty. But yeah, we do have basically just cutscenes for both of them. So it's a good time to fix issues. We're actually still doing cutscenes at the moment. Just talking to the king and your grandpa and whatnot. Learning that you're the hero of the game. Because there needs to be a plot. Which is good. The early game is, a lot of the movement is based on rolling, and there's a big difference between the top runners and lower tier runners in this game for rolling, because if you can roll basically on every frame that you're allowed to roll, so at the end of one roll you can roll again very quickly, and if you time that perfectly then you can basically roll non-stop. But if you push it one frame early, then you won't roll. And then for every frame you push it late, that's another frame you're not rolling. So the best runners can basically time their rolls perfectly, or close to perfectly. And that doesn't look like much over the course of one screen, but over the course of the entire game, it really adds up. And there's even an indication of how much time adds up just based on the first split. You might not see much of a difference between these two runners, but if you're comparing a top runner to a middle tier or lower tier runner, then you'll definitely see it within the first split. And then it will just carry on from there throughout the rest of the run. So the runners are entering the forest now, getting introduced to Eslo, who I believe is the Minish Cap, but there's actually other people believe that the Minish Cap is the thing that gives Avadi his powers. So who knows? But there's Eslo. And he's being bullied. And we save him. So that's good. And Eslo will help us out throughout the run. Or not really help us out. But if it was a casual playthrough and we didn't know what we were doing, then maybe he would help us out. Mostly, he gives us the ability to shrink, though, which is good, so you can become Minish. And that's, yeah, the main mechanic in this game. One of two main mechanics, I guess. What else can Eslo do? You can use him as like a parachute, which we'll see. Other than that, meh. So the runners are still going through the introductory section of the game. We run into our first Minish here, and we can't speak their language, so we need to get an item that will allow us to translate. It's a nut. And then we'll learn about the dungeons we have to go beat. Just like, you know, the classic RPG quest. You have to go to all these 4 places before you can fight the final boss for random reason X. Oh, cool, having a little bit of fun on a ladder there. Yeah, so this is the Minish Elder. I believe this is the guy named Eldari. It's either this person or the person who's blocking the dungeon, not sure. But that would be the name, and he's like, yo, there's 4 elements that you need to get, so go get them. So one of those 2 people is named Eldari. Who knows? coming up to the first dungeon here, the Deepwood Shrine. Kind of a tutorial dungeon where Eslo will talk to you in probably about 50 to 60% of the rooms in this dungeon. And yeah, you'll see mostly just rolling. Another advantage that rolling has, besides making you go faster, is it has some invincibility frames associated with it. So you can roll through some enemies, like you saw both runners doing there, rolling through some of the slugs. Now, there's a lot of grabbing and pulling in this dungeon, specifically with the mushrooms. Based on how far the gap is that you need to cross, you can time how far you need to, or measure how far you need to pull the mushroom, usually based on how often Link sweats. And usually you need to wait for him to sweat 3 times. There's once where it's like 1.5, and another one where it's 4, but usually it's 3. One thing about rolling is that you never want to roll into an Eslo trigger, except for in a couple of specific circumstances. Usually when you roll into a trigger that will cause Eslo to talk to you, that cutscene won't start until a delayed amount of time. I guess the game waits an entire rolling, or it waits for the time it would take to complete a roll, just to make sure that Link isn't rolling when that happens. And that is slower than just walking into the trigger. So the players will roll whenever possible, except when they're rolling, or when the roll would bring them into an Eslo trigger. So then they walk. So the next room, after this mushroom one, will be a good demonstration of the use of invincibility from rolling. You can kill all of these slugs as you make your way around this entire area, but it's actually faster to roll through most of them. Unfortunately for Vlack, those slugs were sort of grouped up so that if you could roll through one of them, you would just hit another one, so he decided to kill most of them. Quo, meanwhile, rolls through all of them, and even just damages himself to get through without having to kill any of the slugs. Both runners are at 1 heart at this point. There are safety hearts throughout the dungeon, but it looks like Vlack decides to pass up the first one. And so does Quo. So maybe they'll pick up the second one, depending on how they do. So this Matter Pillar boss, mini-boss, basically you have to slash him in the nose, and then slash him in the tail. And yeah, if you're fast enough, then you can beat him in 2 cycles. But sometimes he can just troll you by walking around in a pattern that's makes it difficult to hit its nose. So both runners actually had reasonable patterns there. But it looks like Quo got a 3 cycle, unfortunately. A 3 cycle and that random hard drop. I'll probably grab that, yeah. But that brings Vlack into a greater lead than he had before. Vlack is now on the lily pad section. Lily pad movement is very difficult in this game. You can only control yourself by using the Gust Jar, and a lot of times you'll use the Gust Jar 1 too few times or 1 too many times. And so you either undershoot or overshoot where you're trying to get to. And it's just, yeah, it's tough to understand the physics of the lily pad movement as well. So even if you think you know what you're doing, sometimes the lily pad just goes in the wrong direction. And there's not much else you can do about that. Vlack is actually still only at a half a heart and showing no signs of going for any safety hearts. The boss has one attack that will do a half heart of damage. Okay, so Vlack does take a small sidestep there to avoid one of the enemies. Otherwise, he'd be at a quarter heart, and if you're at a quarter heart, then you should be scared, I think. But a half heart and somebody who's as good as Vlack at this game, maybe it's okay. We're making a few sloppy mistakes here and there. So far, he messed around with the ladder, fell off the lily pad there. Earlier on, he over-rotated the barrel. Another small mistake, not pulling the mushroom back far enough. So I don't know what's happening on Quo's end there, but there's a lot of what I would call silly mistakes, especially for someone at his level in the game. So Vlack coming up on the first boss here. It's just a regular chew, except for Minish. And that makes it big. So this boss, you need to basically go through 3 cycles. And during each cycle, you have to hit the chew, I think it's 5 times. You can hit it anywhere between 5 and 9 times. That amount is random. And you actually want to only hit it 5 times, if it will let you. Because 5 hits does the same amount as 9 hits, and 5 hits takes longer, or takes less time. Vlack actually goes out of his way to grab a heart during the boss fight, which is a nice way to get health without losing time. Whenever you basically suck away all the goop from the bottom of the chew, it'll fall over, and it will fall over faster if you are standing on the side that it is swaying first. So that's one way to speed up the boss. Boss down for Vlack. And boss down for Quo. Based on the Earth element splits, it looks like Vlack is about 8 seconds. No. Yeah. 8 seconds or so ahead, plus his rupee lead, which is important. He's got 40 rupees, whereas Quo only has the 25. And that will come into play in this next split. But we have the Earth element, and now we're leaving. The Minish sword, I think it's called the Kori sword, is broken. Vadi broke it basically at the start of the run, and we need to go fix it. So the next step is to go to the mountain Minish, and they'll fix it for us. We're getting the bombs here. Vlack just got them, and Quo is getting them. The bombs, not as useful in this game as some other Zelda games, but there is some tech you can do with them that will actually speed up your run. If you drop a bomb, grab it, and throw it immediately, then it will actually blow up a little bit faster than if you just drop the bomb, or drop the bomb, pick it up, and carry it somewhere. There's also a technique you can do called the roll lift, which is where you drop a bomb and roll. I'm not exactly sure if it's one frame, one after the other, and which one comes first, or if it's on the same frame. I can't do roll lifts myself, never tried. But if you do a roll lift, and if I see one, I'll point it out. then that will cause the bomb that you drop to blow up even faster. So some of the higher tier runners will go for roll lifts places. And then there is also, there's some fights that we can do that are faster with bombs than without bombs, or at least the current strats use bombs. And other than that, bombs are only really needed for a couple of other tricks. One, which is just to kill yourself, which is an important step in the trick. And the other one is a pretty big skip that I'll talk about later. The runners did talk to Hurdy-Gurdy Man, who teaches us how to fuse kinstones, and we proceed to ignore him. And then we went and got the spin attack, which we need to get through a guard that says we can't go somewhere until we learn the spin attack. So that's good. And you see Vlack on his screen just spent the first 20 of his rupees on getting a bottle that we'll need throughout the run for a bunch of different things. Yeah, so Vlack is then rolling basically right past a cave, and Quo, instead of rolling past the cave, will actually go into the cave. You have to waste a bomb here, but your bomb count isn't super important. Usually throughout the run, if you waste too many bombs, then you can run into some problems, but usually it's not a big deal. But yeah, so Quo went out of his way to get extra 15 rupees, and that's a small time loss for him relative to Vlack. But that basically puts them on the same route at this point. So whatever advantage in terms of how far ahead the runners look, that's actually the advantage they have now, since their routes have converged. Vlack just attempted a roll lift. I don't think he got it. But yeah, this Mountain Krenol section of the run is frustrating. There's a lot of enemies for whatever reason, and a lot of their movement is random. And there's P-hats, which you don't really have good tools with to deal with them. My favorite way of getting rid of P-hats is with the boomerang, and we don't have the boomerang yet. So you can't do that. You can use bombs or you can use gust jars, but if you use bombs, then your bomb count will be depleted very quickly, and the gust jar is just kind of slow. So it's hard to deal with the enemies on Mount Krenol, and their movement is sort of erratic. There's also the rock wall, which can randomly take away a random amount of health. I've had up to 2 hearts disappear just from bad luck, but I'm sure somebody else has straight up died for no reason to the rock wall. Yeah, you see on Vlack's screen there's just a spider, those are just called Tektites, just standing in his way, and he didn't have his sword out, so it's actually faster, or he decided it was faster to just wait for the Tektite to jump away than to swap to a sword to kill it. And that's just yeah. You have no way of dealing with that. You just have to take what Mount Krenol gives you. And Black now also spending the next 40 of his rupees to get the grip ring that allows him to climb the wall. So he's going to the wall. And this is basically the part of the run that I don't know, I get worried about usually, because you can lose a random amount of health here, just based on if the boulders will hit you. Black is at pretty good health right now, and so if he gets hit once or twice, it should be okay. 3 times, 4 times, 4 times would be sketchy. Doesn't get hit once though. What a pro. That's the difference between a top runner and a lower tier runner, is that you just don't get hit by the boulders for some reason. Oh, he does get trolled at the top though. You have to pull this mushroom like 5 squares or something, and there's those 2 enemies that can just hit you pretty much whenever. And that's very unfortunate that the enemies decided to hit him, so he had to let go of the mushroom. Had to swap as well to a sword. So, just unfortunate time loss. Quo also doesn't get hit by boulders. What is this? I call shenanigans. Yeah, so after going up Mount Krenel, facing against so many annoying enemies, you get to the top and it's actually fairly safe, but it's a push puzzle section. It's just, yeah, not a lot of interesting stuff going on. Literally no speed tech right here. Ah, jeez. Vlack getting hit by more enemies. Ah! Quarter heart, and he's dead! No way! That's a big issue. That puts him all the way to the bottom of Mount Krenel, I think. That's like... Yes. That could be... what? 2-minute, 3-minute time loss? I'm not really sure. But huge. Gotta get those safety hearts. I don't know how he lost so much health so quickly. Oh, and Vlack realizing that he already has the grip ring, so he doesn't have to go follow the normal route, which is good. But yeah, that still puts him really far back. That Helmasaur just... I've never seen the Helmasaur move like that, honestly. I don't know what to say. So that puts Quo in the lead. And Quo is heading now to the second Minish Town. And that's where he's going to get his sword repaired. And while the sword is being repaired, Quo or Eslo tells you, hey, you might as well go complete that second dungeon. So you go do that. It's a good time. Yeah, so Vlack now just entering the room where he died, so however much of a time loss that was, he's now back to where he should have been. don't really know what there is to say about the second dungeon. It's kind of a straight line type dungeon. There's only really one way to go. Not much choices to make, and there's not really a lot you can do to go faster besides just your basic movement. Rolling optimally and whatnot. I guess you can use the gust jar in that section that Quo just did to blow open a door, and that's slightly faster. Yeah, the estimate for a Minish Cap race would be for like a reasonably good runner, under 2 hours. But for these runners, an hour 50 to hour 52 maybe. Okay, so based on the splits, it looks like, yeah, Quo is almost 2 minutes ahead at this point, after actually getting a gold for his entering the Cave of Flames. So that's pretty impressive. Runner's still following the straight line. That's all I can say. Doing their movement, rolling and whatnot. Black having some problems with that Helmixor fight. Yeah, must have got really bad RNG or something. Quo will be coming up on what I guess you consider the mini-boss fight. It's a bunch of metal chews. And this fight, there's a setup for it. You just charge your sword, do a spin attack to kill 3 of them, kill a 4th one, and then another spin attack to kill the other 4. And Quo pretty much nails it. So that was a good fight for him. If that fight goes wrong, though, it can be disastrous. Because those metal chews have a lot of ways to prevent damage. Make your sword irrelevant, kind of. I don't know. But yeah, beating those chews gives you the Cane of Bachi, which lets you flip objects over and other funky stuff. It's a cool item. Though some people question why it exists, because who would ever need something like that? So in a bit, you'll see Quo and Vlack both go out of their way to pick up some green kinstones, and that'll be used later on to get the magic boomerang, which is a side quest item, but getting that item turns out to be faster and lets us skip the flippers, which is a main quest item, and the quest to get the flippers is much longer than the quest to get the boomerang, so we'll take the boomerang. Yeah, so Vlack misses the bottom shoe in the very first spin attack, so that could be an issue. Ends up not being an issue, he just kills it with the rest of the game. Impressive. So in this big room, platform room that Quo was in, when he comes back into it, he's going to go out of his way to pick up, or to open 2 chests, one of which has 100 rupees in it, and another one which has another green kinstone that we'll need. And you have to do that room fairly quickly, and with some precise movement to make sure that you can hit one of the platform cycles. It's a pretty tight window actually, but there's nothing complicated in terms of like your ability to roll. It's all just flying with Eslo. So it's not that hard to make as long as you know what you're doing, but it still is kind of a tight window. So it's possible if you miss one input somewhere, you can drop the cycle, and losing a cycle will lose you 10 seconds about, I think it is. And Vlack is again on 1 heart, so hopefully he doesn't meet with a cruel fate. So yeah, Quo is now in the big room doing his cycle stage, getting the the blue rupee chest, the big blue rupee chest. Yeah, accidentally rolling when trying to open a chest is one of my gripes about this game, which is that the R button, which is used to roll, is also used to talk with NPCs and open chests and open doors. And when you have the same button for so many different inputs, then sometimes you can push the button to try to do one input, but it'll think that you're trying to do a different input, and that can throw you off your game. Of course, you can use the A button instead, but why would you do that? The R button's right there. I don't know, I think everybody just uses the R button for that. And so like, you have to get into a habit of pushing A instead. Quo doing the Glee Rock fight. And this is a 3-cycle fight. There's not really much going on in this fight either. Not really any speed tech. Except if you knock the Glee Rock's back off when Glee Rock is facing up, then it will fall over faster. So I don't know why, but that's just how it works. And yeah, other than that, you just want to hit the back fast and don't get hit by the fire. Yeah, Vlack is now doing his cycle room. So everything he does here has to be quite precise, just to make sure he hits the cycle. And that's Glee Rock down for Quo. That's true, Mashy. Depends on what item you have on A. If it's the sword, it's fine. If it's the ocarina, eh. Quo officially on PB pace. Crazy. Now, if you look at the walls on Quo's screens, you'll see absolutely nothing. It's just a bunch of rocks. So you'll see that again on Black's screen later as well. Just rocks in the Minish village. But yeah, Quo gets the sword. Very important to pick up that sword. If you decide to go down Mount Krenel and not pick up the sword, then you have to climb all the way back up. Almost faster to reset. Yeah, so Quo is going out of his way to break open one of those wind... What do people call it? I always call it a wind rune. I think people call it a wind shrine. You use those to teleport or to warp to with the ocarina, but I guess we're not supposed to know that yet in the game. So that's why Eslo keeps popping up whenever you break open one of those runes. To be like, hey, I wonder what that did. Hey, I wonder what that did. We did that with a different one earlier as well, and we're going to use both of those as warp points later on. So Black finishes up the Lee Rock fight and is currently a little over 2 minutes behind at this point. Could be tough to win Crest. That's what they're called. Could be tough to come back with a 2-minute deficit, but deaths are possible. There's some shenanigans that Vadi can do, so the race is not over. Yeah, so look at the walls on Black screens. It's just a bunch of rocks. Crazy. Crazy. Imagine having rocks for walls. So Quo now has the 2 sword. And he's learning how to split into 2, which is the other sort of main mechanic of this game. You use that to solve various puzzles and beat some bosses and whatnot. It's a good time, except it's actually not. Very frustrating when you have clones out. Yeah, this segment of the run is sort of like the story segment, part 2. So you had the very first split, which was very cutscene heavy with a lot of story stuff happening. And then you just sort of carry on up until this point, where more story stuff happens. Body shows up and confronts you, and Eslo's like, hey, I know that guy. And then you fight some moblins. And Quo actually screws up the moblin fight, but deals with the screw up quite well. That was pretty impressive, actually. Those moblins are usually not so easy to kill unless you have a setup for it. And then after killing the moblins, Eslo's like, that reminds me of the time when I became a hat. And then he tells you the story of how he became a hat. And now we know. Black gets the 2 sword. And Quo keeps rolling. Rolling, rolling, rolling. More story happening now. You're just wandering around in the highlands, and Eslo's like, there's a fell voice in the air. And Vadi shows up. and does some stuff. And that's the story. Let's see how this Moblin fight goes for Black. After Vadi confronts him. Yeah. There's a bunch of different setups for that Moblin fight, and none of them are particularly difficult to do. And they're all like basically the same speed. So who knows? Yeah, you just have to pick one and go with it. Whichever one. Like, there's sometimes you can do one that's slightly faster, but it's like half a second. It's not really a big deal. And you have to do all of that Highlands nonsense just to read a sign that says you need boots. And then, and only then, can you go and get the boots. Except you can't get the boots because the guy fell asleep. So you have to do some other stuff. It turns out you need a smelly mushroom. And that's why we grabbed the 100 rupee chest. Because we need 60 rupees for the mushroom. And it just happens that the 100 rupee chest is the fastest way to get those 60 rupees. Cool, maybe attempting a roll lift right here. Yes, he does. Looks like he got it. What else is happening? You get to see Talon and Malin on the ranch. And that actually puts Malin in an annoying spot in the town. So basically, she's an object that you have to avoid. Yeah, so sometimes Eslo likes to give you redundant information that you already know. And so Quo just bought a mushroom, and then the witch tells you, oh, you have to go up to the person you want to use the mushroom on, and then push R. And then you'll use the mushroom. And lo and behold, once you go into the shoe shop, Eslo's like, hey, you should push the R button. Thanks, Eslo. Quo gets the boots now, though, which is exciting because the boots make you go fast. Faster than rolling if you were to roll more than 3 times to get where you want to go. The boots also have an advantage over rolling in that you can run slightly diagonally as well, whereas you can't roll diagonally. So sometimes it's just easier to use the boots, and usually it's just faster to use the boots. The boots also eliminates having to roll as frame perfectly as possible. So it makes it easier for the less skilled runners as well. The boots are also used in the Dark Nut fight. You can bonk against the wall to get yourself behind the Dark Nut, where it's not shielded, and then kill it. That Dark Nut fight, there's good RNG and there's bad RNG. If the Dark Nut does a sword slash, then you can only hit it twice before it will turn around. Or before it will, yeah, be protected again. It doesn't really turn around. But it can also do a charge attack, in which case you can actually hit it all 4 times. You need 4 hits to kill it, so the charge attack, you can kill it in one go there. But Quo got the slash attack, so had to do 2 bonks against the wall. A small bit of lily pad movement optimization. You can shoot the Gust Jar sideways, and that gives you a small boost for some reason. So that's why you see Quo shooting sort of sideways. And after this fight here, Quo will get the bow and save and quit. And like I said at the start of the run, that lets him reset the RNG. He's going to use that along with some specific movement to manipulate 2 green kinstones. So 2 sword slashes, a third one to get the first kinstone, charge the sword a certain amount of time, spin attack, and you get the second green kinstone. So that's actually the 3rd and 4th green kinstone, and they're all the right kinds that we need for the magic boomerang. So we're all set up on that front. But yeah, in the Castor Wilds, you need to get 3 gold kinstones. And the gold kinstones are like main quest kinstones. You don't normally need to fuse with anybody, but the gold kinstones you do need to fuse. You do need them to fuse with certain things to unblock paths. So we need all 3 of them in this area. And you'll see the lily pad movement again on black screen. And while on the lily pad, both runners are actually going to grab water. And you use the water to put out a little bit of fire later on. But yeah, we don't need anything else in the bottle till then, so might as well grab it right here, where it's slightly faster than grabbing it anywhere else. Black gets the bow, so he'll be doing the RNG manip as well. So if you missed it the first time, you save and quit, you reload, do 2 sword slashes, and then break open some bushes to get 2 green kinstones. And they happen to be the 2 that we need. Wonderful. And at this point, the runners will just keep on keeping on. So, rolling, running, whatever. Try to get as fast as possible through stuff. Green kinstone drop for Quo. That's nice. There are certain items in the game that you just don't want to have drop. One of them is kinstones, because then you have to, if you collect it, then you have to read the text, and that's slower. There's also some seashells that will, again, force you to read some text. So you just try to avoid those whenever possible. You can also try to avoid green rupees, but those are just too common, so you're almost inevitably going to get that green rupee text at some point. But yeah. Usually you're not so happy to see a Kinstone drop because it's either a time loss or something you have to go out of your way to avoid. So either way, it's a time loss. It's just how you lose the time, I guess. Okay, Quo is now entering the Fortress of Winds and somehow saving 40 seconds over his PB. Something must have gone wrong there for him. But yeah, Fortress of Winds is the end of the glitchless portion of this game. We'll start busting out glitches towards the end of this, and afterwards we get the Ocarina, which is, according to Toadswoot, not the glitchiest item in the game. That, I think, is the Lantern, but it is the most useful glitchy item in the game. So we'll see a lot of Ocarina stuff. Quo, unfortunately, gets hit by one of these statue things. Definitely don't remember the name. Armos, got it. And falls down the pit twice. So that's unfortunate, but that's the way she goes sometimes. I believe Quo was trying to get the Armo statue to move off of the cloning square, and then cloning without killing the Armo statue. But yeah, must have screwed that up. So if this time around he does kill the Armo statue, make it a bit easier. And then on Quo's screen, you're going to see Eslo give some more redundant information. You watch this huge cutscene of a key falling down to the floor, and then after that cutscene, Eslo, says something. Now, I don't actually know what Eslo says. It's in Japanese when you do the speedrun, and I haven't played this game casually in a while. So, but just based on what's happened, you can only, he has to be saying something along the lines of, hey, a key just fell down. But that's after watching this cutscene of the key falling. You know it's there. Anyway, that's just Eslo. Who is winning? Quo is ahead right now. He is ahead by approximately 2 minutes and 10 seconds. And that most of that time, possibly all of that time, was caused by a death from Black on Mount Krenel. Very unfortunate. Possibly the worst place in the run to die outside of the body fights. But yeah, on Black's screen, you actually see him do the cloning without the armor, without killing the Armos Knight. So that's what Quo was probably trying to do. So Quo is about to get the moments, and that is going to then misses a bomb, feels bad, man. After this, he's going to save and quit, and he's going to do something called portal items glitch to get out of bounds. If you hop onto the portal in a specific way, you can start using an item when you're off the portal, and then finish using it when you're on the portal. That's usually not so useful, but when you use it, when you do it with the moments will clink on the ground, and you get knocked back. So you'll be off the portal at that point, but you'll still be in the air as if you were on the portal. And so you can then, based on that knockback, you can jump off the portal further away than normal. And that almost gets you up onto the wall, but it doesn't quite get you there. So Quo is going to drop a bomb and then time his jump so that the bomb damage will boost him up to the wall and get him out of bounds. So some pause buffering there to make sure he gets it right and nails it first try. Very good. You also saw Quo grab the red Kinstone in a chest. We need that later to open a portal to Skyland, which will then act as a shortcut. Which player has the better PB? That's Black. So Black's PB is a 1:47.47. This is an approximately 2-hour-long run, so 1:47 is really good. And Quo has a 1:50.31. Both are top tier runners in this game. Quo is actually, didn't mention this, he's been around the Minish Cap scene for a while, and a lot of runners who have learned this game learned based on a tutorial that Quo made. And even today, now that his tutorial is out of date, like quite a bit out of date too, people still use it because the updated tutorial is difficult to find. But yeah, almost everybody follows Quo's tutorial when first learning the game. Quo also participated in making the Minish Cap TAS as well, so Quo knows a lot about this game. This is doing the Mazal fight. I think this boss is called Mazal or Mazal or something like that. I don't know how to pronounce it. But there is some RNG in this fight where when you... in the second and third phase, when you enter the head of the boss, there's dirt in the way, and you have to dig around to try to find which pillar you have to slash open. You want it to be the front pillars, because those are faster to get to. Actually, at the last phase there, Quo got the front center pillar, which is the best possible pillar. You can't have the same pillar twice in a row, though, so if you get it in the front again the first time, then there's actually slightly less likely that you get it in the front the second time. But yeah, Quo finishes the boss while Black enters the boss. And that gives Quo the Ocarina. This is going to start very quickly. There's a glitch called the Ocarina glitch, which basically if you play the Ocarina while entering certain doorways or staircases, and if you do it on the exact same frame, then the game freaks out and cancels you playing the Ocarina, but also cancels the screen transition. It puts you in this weird state where you can basically walk over everything. Everything that's not a wall, I guess. Unless you go up a level, then you can walk over the wall as well. You can do a bunch of stuff with the Ocarina glitch, though. And so the rest of this run will basically feature the Ocarina glitch heavily. Starting right now, Quo is going to hop into the town, do a save and quit to reset the RNG. He's going to manipulate the movement of the lady in front of the cafe. Use the lady to push him into the door, and then do an Ocarina glitch using that doorway. Nails it. So yeah, that lets him run over the water, and through that door that's normally locked. But because he has the Ocarina glitch on, the door itself, that's a weird door. So normally I don't think you can just walk through doors. Normally you would just open it with the Ocarina glitch active, but that's a weird door. I'm not 100% sure. It has some text associated with it. Because when you go into it, the guy says, hey, like, leave me alone, I'm busy, or something like that. And so because of that, I think you can just walk into the door. I think that's the reason why you can walk through it. But yeah, Quo also fused with a Tingle, and Black is doing that as well, because you need to fuse with the 4 Tingle characters in this game to unlock the Magic Boomerang, which we'll be using to skip flippers. So that's why they're fusing. Quo is also currently doing the Bracelet quest. We need the bracelets later on in the game. He's also collecting a fairy that will be used to open a door to allow him to do another Ocarina glitch. But you need to open the door while dying, and then you use the fairy to revive yourself afterwards. Yeah, Vlack is now doing the cafe Ocarina glitch, aka the lady house Ocarina glitch, because there's a lady and a house. Let's see how Vlack does. Yep. Gets it. Very nice. So Quo took a bunch of damage there, and that's because he's going to die intentionally in maybe 3 minutes or so. But most of what Quo is doing is now just fusing with people. He's going to fuse with a bunch of Tingles, fuse with this Sky person to unlock the Skyland portal. skipping bracelets is not just not race friendly, it's just not run friendly. Not run friendly at all. And yeah, basically we're just watching a bunch of Kinstone fusions at this point. So, sort of another lull in terms of action, but this time not for story reasons, just for side quest reasons. I do like that we get the Magic Boomerang just because I find it interesting that we can skip an item that normally you would need to beat the game, but skipping that requires you to get an item that's normally just like a bonus item. The Magic Boomerang is a hidden item that a lot of people wouldn't even come across in a casual playthrough. So the fact that it becomes required for the speedrun I find quite interesting, when it's not even something a casual runner would even come across. So, because normally you need the flippers to get to the Temple of Droplets, but because we're going to skip them, we need to find a different way to get there. And you do that using an ocarina glitch. There's no stair. Normally you use ocarina glitches on stairways. There's no stairway on the map to get there, so we have to do another house ocarina glitch. The one with the cafe has that nice lady there that will kindly push you into the door. There's no NPCs on the Lake Hylia map to push you into the door for what I believe, I forget if that's the mayor's cabin or something. I don't think so. Maybe it is. No, the other house is the mayor's cabin. I forget whose house that one is. Point is, there's no NPC there. So instead, we're going to open the door. And instead of going through the door, we'll die on the same frame. And that will cause the door to open, but we won't go into it, leaving the door open for us to do the ocarina glitch with. You actually see Quo save there, not because he's going to save and quit, but because if you screw this up, you lose your berry. And the fastest way to recover is to reload a save that already has the berry. There's a nice setup to get the door open and use a bomb to kill yourself all at the same time by using a roll and shooting an arrow. But yeah, Ocarina Glitch is a frame perfect trick. And so you see Quo not getting it first try there. He's just playing the Ocarina a few times. It's not the easiest trick to do. So yeah, you'll probably see them play the Ocarina standing still, even going up and down staircases a few times, just because it is a frame perfect trick in a 60 frame per second game. You're gonna miss it sometimes. If you heard the Ocarina play there, that's because Quo got the Ocarina glitch, but I think he held up a little bit too long, and so he got the Ocarina glitch and then entered the staircase afterwards. causing the Ocarina glitch to cancel. But yeah, Temple of Droplets is like almost 100% Ocarina glitch stuff. When you have the Ocarina glitch active, you can walk up some stairs like Quo just did, and that will bring you up a level, so that then you can walk over walls that are on the level below you. And so that's why Quo sort of went out of his way there to walk up those stairs. That way he can get to another level. And yeah, basically when you're on another level, then you've finally gotten good, and you can finally play the game. And you see Vlack playing the Ocarina right before jumping into the Temple of Droplets, and that's because when you have Ocarina glitch active, it's very easy to soft lock the game. One way to soft lock the game is to hop onto a Minish portal, or in this case, the Temple of Droplets portal, with the Ocarina glitch active. So that's not very good. But yeah, if you play the Ocarina, then you cancel the Ocarina glitch. And so that's why Vlack did that. Quo is now attempting to do another Ocarina glitch. This one is going to be accompanied with a new glitch called the boss door clip, which is why we got the magic boomerang. Basically, if you're using the magic boomerang while opening the boss door, you'll go through the boss door, but you won't transition screens. And that puts you out of bounds. And then Quo can do that to get around and about and skip basically all of the dungeon. It's wonderful. Another benefit of having the magic boomerang is that it makes these scissor beetle fights fighter. There's only one now. That's another advantage. You have to kill some scissor beetles to get the flippers. Now we don't have to do that fight. And the next scissor beetle fight, you get the magic boomerang, and so you can stun them, and everything is better. Funny thing about the ice in the Temple of Droplets, and ice in general in this game, is that the best way to move on the ice is to use your boots. So the fastest form of movement is the best on what's supposed to be slippery surfaces, because for whatever reason, when you're using the boots, you don't slip. Vlack now doing the boss door skip. If you fail the boss door flip, it's not good. That's basically all I can say about that. So, it's not the hardest trick in the game to do. It's actually fairly easy. Nothing frame perfect about it. You just have to be using the boomerang when you go through the door. But if you fail it, it's not good. So, even though it's easy, it still can be kind of stressful to go through. Quo is now fighting the reincarnation of the first boss. This one has electricity, so it's better. Yeah. And the only reason we fight this boss, mini-boss, is because we need the lantern. And I don't know how often we need the lantern. There's some places where we use the lantern, but we could probably skip. I'm not sure. Except for we need the lantern just to kill the boss of this dungeon. So otherwise we'd skip this whole area. Kind of unfortunate, actually. Also, I have in the past, and probably a bunch of other runners as well, forgotten to grab the lantern, and then you go fight the boss of the dungeon and realize you can't kill it because you don't have the lantern. So very unfortunate. Quill gets the lantern, saves and quits, equips the boots in the ocarina, which is the classic ocarina glitch item setup, and he's going to do an ocarina glitch to skip more of this dungeon. And he's doing this glitch now to get to the second switch that will open the second half of the cover to the water element. Oh, that's interesting. Quill just canceled the ocarina glitch by accident, I imagine, but that still left him on the layer? I'm not 100% sure what happened there. He could still run over stuff, but the ocarina glitch was cancelled. I'll have to ask him about that if he hops in ready to relay. Yeah, so by pushing that second lever, then you melt the water element, but you also melt the Octorok, which is actually a normal size Octorok, but because we're Minish, it's Big Octo, which is everybody's least favorite boss, almost for sure. Big Octo has 3 phases. In the first phase, he just shoots boulders at you while standing still. And so you hit them back and win. In the second phase, Big Octo will use its sucking attack to suck you up. And then it can also shoot rocks at you. But it has a set pattern where it will use its sucking attack, and then it will shoot rocks. Or shoot 1 rock. Suck attack, and then 2 rocks. And that's fine. But then the third phase, its attack pattern is random. And it has 2 other attacks. A charging attack and an ink attack. Now the charging attack kind of sucks because it doesn't let you damage Big Octo, but it's not the worst. The ink attack, however, basically creates an ink phase at the end, where that ink phase will last for 20 or so seconds, and during that time you can't damage Big Octo. So if Big Octo uses an ink attack, it's just a 20-second time loss. And that is why nobody likes this boss. We'll see how runners do. The runners will often just talk about their runs in terms of how many inks they got. Especially at the top of the leaderboard, you'll see people just say, hey, I got 1 ink, I got 2 inks, I got 0 inks. Quo got 0 inks, so that's optimal. Very nice. He's going to be way ahead at the end of this split. Way ahead of his PB, that is. But yeah, if you don't miss any boulders, the most inks you can get is 2. If you do miss a boulder, then everything goes out the window. And you could get 3. If you miss another boulder, you can get 4. So unfortunately, Big Octo will not give Black a chance to catch up there. He might even fall behind at this point because of the inks. We'll see how he does. Yeah, Quo is also now heading back to get the 3 sword, but there's guards in the way, and the guards are blind, so you just sort of ignore them. And that's all I have to say about that. So Vlack just got a charge attack there, which again isn't good because it doesn't speed anything up. It's just a small waste of time, but it's not as bad as this ink phase that he just got. So if Big Octo in the third cycle uses its sucking attack, then it will shoot a boulder right after that, and then it will use the ink attack again after that. So very unfortunate. Black is already at 1 charge, 1 ink. And it looks like he'll just get the 1 ink. So unfortunate that, you know, the runner who's ahead gets the better luck and gets further ahead because of RNG. We want to see a close race. And Big Octo did not deliver. But yeah, Quo now has the 3 sword and is carrying on to the Palace of Winds. Vlack will be right behind him. We get to the Palace of Winds not by going to the graveyard like the Ghost King suggested. Instead, we're just going to use the portal that the Sky Person we fused with opened, and then use some Ocarina glitches to get through the NPCs that are blocking the way. So it's not a big deal. This series of Ocarina glitches skips like a solid 25 minutes of the game. It's pretty crazy. And that goes straight to the Palace of Winds. Quo's actually grabbing a safety fairy, which is smart for a race, I would say. In a PB attempt, like, he's losing 3 seconds relative to his PB there, and that's probably just because he grabbed the fairy. But for a race where 3 seconds probably won't win or lose him the race, then that fairy is probably a good idea. Oh, that's some fancy speed tech by Quo there, using the boomerang once to hit 2 switches at different times to get across the bridges. That was fancy. Quo gets lit on fire there at the end. You can't transition screens while you're on fire, so that's just an annoying time loss, unfortunately. Quo is now doing what I think is probably the coolest fight in the game. You do a lot of bomb strats here, and you can just time your bombs and use the lantern to kill Wizrogues. And if everything goes well, then you can just kill every Wizrogue immediately. Unfortunately, that last cycle got the better of Quo, so it doesn't look quite as impressive. But that was still a pretty good fight for Quo. Maybe we'll see the perfect fight on Black's end. Yeah, you get the Rock's Cape, and that lets you climb up these cloud stairs. You don't actually have to climb all the way to the top. The game only checks to see if you are... Actually, Quo misses a jump there. That's unfortunate. Has to wait for that platform to come back. But yeah, with these cloud stairs, the game only checks to see if you're at a certain position on the screen and if you're jumping. So by jumping off of the 3rd cloud and holding up, then you can reach that segment where the game will check for that, and you'll be jumping, so the game will transition screens without having to climb all the pillars. So Bracelet Skip was brought up earlier. Might as well talk about it a bit more now. There's a room that Quo will come up to very shortly where he'll be Minish and pushing some pots around. That is the only room in the game where you need the bracelets at this point. Except you actually don't need to do that room. It's possible to skip it by doing something called the cutscene ocarina glitch. If you play the ocarina on the same frame that a cutscene starts, then you also get an ocarina glitch, just like if you play it on staircases or in doorways. With cutscene ocarina glitches, however, you can't trigger the cutscene whenever you want, and once the cutscene has played, you can't play it again. So, unfortunately, Black also screws up the Wizard fight, so we don't get to see the perfect fight. But anyway, cutscene ocarina glitches. Yeah, you only get one chance at this ocarina glitch, and you can't buffer it very well, and you can't set it up very well. So you basically have a 1 in 60, or you have to hit 1 frame in a 60 frame per second game, and you only get 1 shot at it. But if you do get this cutscene ocarina glitch, then you can, yeah, skip having to do that puzzle quest. Or the pot puzzle. So, given how difficult it is and how dead your run is if you fail, nobody really does it. So, yeah. There will be a different cutscene ocarina glitch that both runners will attempt, and that's because this is a cutscene that you don't go out of your way for at all. And if you fail it, then nothing really bad happens in terms of your run being flat out dead. So you have to go for it, and if you get it, it will save, I think it's about 40 seconds. So that could be another thing that if Black gets it, then he'll get a little bit closer. But that cutscene ocarina glitch is actually going to happen after this fight against these 2 ball and chain soldiers that Quo is fighting. And Quo actually, an hour before this race started, he posted what he called a pseudo-consistent strat for getting the ocarina glitch. Unfortunately, he does the strat, does not get the ocarina glitch. It almost looks like he didn't try, even, because he didn't equip the ocarina. But the cutscene probably started playing before he had the chance. So he doesn't get the cutscene ocarina glitch. Maybe Black will. Are these active runners? Yes, absolutely. Quo has been an active runner for a while. Black learned the game about a year ago? More than a year ago. Almost 2 years ago, I guess, actually. But quickly rose in the ranks. I'm not sure how often he'll be playing Minish Cap. He does a lot of other speed games as well. So I don't know how active he will be after the tournament. But definitely during the tournament, he'll be active with this game. So Quo just picked up the box key and is going to be doing another boss door clip. And this boss door clip actually lets you skip the entire second half of the Palace of Winds. So that's like a, what is that, a 3 to 5 minute time save? I think it's a 3-minute time save. Assuming you can play the second half of Palace of Winds perfectly. So for most people, it's probably closer to a 5-minute time save. And is now doing the Georg pair fight. Let's watch Vlack's screen here. He'll probably also try to do the cutscene ocarina glitch. He was practicing this for a while before the race started. He has the ocarina equipped. 1 frame too early, I think. Very unfortunate. Close. So neither runner gets the cutscene ocarina glitch. Yeah, if you haven't watched Minish Cap in a while, it's quite a different run than before. But I guess a while would be like 2 years ago, I'd say. Because we found the flipper skip was found about 2 years ago, so that changed the run completely. Quo charging his sword sideways for that last phase. You don't want to charge your sword sideways because those little green enemies will almost certainly hit your sword and end your charging. But then Quo just does the Clomus strat, which is not super easy to pull off, but yeah, for somebody like Quo who knows how to do it fairly well, you can pull it off. Quo is actually entering Dark Hyrule Castle 1.5 minutes ahead of his PB. So there's some serious PB potential there. Unless Quo dies to Vaati and doesn't live it down. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned. Minish Cap is... I really like the Game Boy Zelda games, first of all. And I like the Minish Cap because it seems to me to be a Zelda that doesn't take itself so seriously. And it's just sort of, there's not a lot of like nonsense type missions you have to go on. In the speedrun we skip all of those too, so it's fine. The book quest was the only thing that I found really annoying in Minish Cap. But other than that, it was a very fast and to-the-point run, or game playthrough, as opposed to some other Zeldas where you have to do side quest after side, or what feels like a side quest after side quest. I guess it's part of the main quest, but when you're not just doing dungeons, I don't know. It's a lot more fun to be doing the dungeon and doing some sort of side quest to unlock something that will then let you get the item that you use to go to the dungeon. Minish Cap gets to the point. Quo gets the 4-sword now, and is learning some lore, even though it's the intro cutscene over again. I don't know. Playing as Dark Link is almost certainly possible with some sort of a ROM hack this game. Yeah, we did say to follow the runners to see more Minish Cap, but you can also follow Zelda speedruns because we are hosting the Minish Cap tournament that's ongoing. So it should probably be going on for another month and a half or so, finishing up around the new year. Maybe even sooner. Who knows? But there will be a lot of Minish Cap action on ZSR. Yeah, unfortunately, Vaati knows about the lore in the game now, so he's going to steal the Light Force from Zelda. Quo doing a glitch now called cutscene locking, where he's going to activate the cutscene for unfreezing the Chancellor person, while also activating the trigger for the Eslo cutscene. And that allows him to walk during the cutscene, saving some time. It's wonderful. And Black now getting the 4 sword as well. Yeah, the 4 sword does let you use like a sword beam. Except the sword beam in this game is not as useful as in other games, because you can only use it after charging your sword, as opposed to just slashing your sword at full health. But yeah, Dark Hyrule Castle, just like Temple of Droplets, is almost entirely Ocarina Glitch shenanigans. In order to get the boss key to fight Vaati, we need 4 keys, basically. And so we're going to be using Ocarina Glitch to get 4 keys as fast as possible. Now, even going backwards through this door, using the Ocarina Glitch. There is a trick you can do in Room Coming Up with Quo, where you can use a bomb to blow up 2 of these statues, and then use your sword to blow up the other 2 when they with their bullets. And Quo nails it, and that allows him to avoid an Eslo text, as well as he can avoid charging his sword and having to make 4 clones. That probably saves 20 seconds or so, if you get it. And then equipping the boots and the ocarina, because Ocarina Glitch shenanigans are going to happen. Quo is going to walk over the walls in a sec, but he can't quite get over there because he's not on the same level as the walls. So he has to go out of his way to go around to this room again and climb up those stairs, which then allows him to get to that level where he can just walk over the other walls. Black now doing the cutscene walking. Does a better job of it than Quo. Quo kind of screwed up his movement at the end of that. But yeah, Quo uses the Ocarina Glitch to get 1 key. He got a different key as well from earlier room. And now, instead of going left with this Ocarina Glitch, he's going to go over the wall to the right. But again, needs to go up a level first, so is going out of his way to do that. Black, of course, now getting his first Ocarina Glitch of Dark Hyrule Castle. And making his way downtown. So after this Ocarina Glitch and getting the 3rd key that Quo has, or is about to get, we're going through this part of the dungeon backwards, and so the doors are actually closed on the other side because we haven't opened them yet. But with the Ocarina Glitch active, you can jump over them by jumping with Rock's Cape and doing a screen transition. So he activates Ocarina Glitch and tries to jump over the wall. Gets it 2nd time. He has to do that twice because the Ocarina Glitch is active. And there's two walls to get through. And then, because the Ocarina Glitch is active, Quo gets to walk over the walls here. Oh, misses a bomb. But that's okay. And sort of do this room without having to wait for the platform, which is nice. Black carrying on with the Ocarina Glitches. Very nice. So this Black Dark Nut fight that Quo is doing is a very quick kill. You just sort of roll up to it and slash it on the side a few times. That kind of stun blocks it. 7 hits like that and it's dead. Very good. Very fast, very easy. Another advantage that Quo didn't actually make use of in that specific room of the Magic Boomerang is that you can use it to turn the anti-fairies into fairies. And that basically makes it very easy to get health if you're low on health. Quo getting hit by the fire on purpose there, I imagine, because when you're on fire, you actually... I think being on fire is actually the fastest form of movement. Even faster than boots. But you just can't... You don't have as much access to that as possible. So, or as you do to the boots. So you don't see the fire movement that often. That almost looked like a sync there, except they're in different rooms. That's kind of fun. Quo is actually saving and quitting now, and he's going to be doing what's called the Dark Nut Manip, which is the longest RNG manipulation in the game. There's a triple Dark Nut fight coming up, and by doing some precise movements from basically getting the 4th key onward, you can manipulate the Dark Nuts so that they'll do charge attacks. And like I mentioned earlier on when talking about the optimal way to fight Dark Nuts, the charge attack lets you get in more swings than anything else. So yeah, he'll be trying to manipulate the Dark Nuts such that first the black one will charge, and then you can kill the black one, and then one of the red ones will charge, and hopefully the 3rd red one will charge after the 2nd red one. But yeah, all of this movement is very precise. Specific rolling, specific number of sword slashes in this teasing room. So it's a really long manip, and it's difficult to learn. But yeah, we'll see if it all pays off for Quo here. So the Black Dark Nut should do a charge attack, very nice. 1 sword attack to miss on purpose, and that manipulates the 2nd red one to charge, which it did, but unfortunately Quo didn't take advantage of that. So only gets the 1 charge, or only gets the 1 kill from the charges. But that's still, going from 3 Dark Nuts to 2 Dark Nuts makes the fight so much easier. Black is also about to do the Dark Nut Manip, but Quo is entering the body fight. And we'll see how that goes for him, because he's still almost a minute and a half ahead of his PB. So this could be a PB for Quo, assuming he doesn't die to body and not live it down. Yeah, so Black doing an RNG manipulation here as well from the save and quit. Vadi 1 has some small eyeballs that will circle him, and you have to kill those before Vadi will become vulnerable. And that's pretty much the fight. Later on, Vadi will start having some protection around the small eyes, but you can use the Gust Jar to get rid of those, and then you continue on. So it's, yeah, not really a complicated fight, but Vadi can do this fire attack, which can be annoying if you get hit on, or if you get lit on fire, because then you have to run around for a while and you can't damage him. Vadi can also teleport a lot of times, but Quo did that fight quite nicely, and Vadi didn't do much trolling. Vadi 2, meanwhile, is a big troll, You can 3-cycle this boss. I'm not really sure the details, but basically if you do the right amount of damage on the 2nd cycle, then you can kill it on the 3rd cycle instead of the 4th cycle. But Vadi 2 can just be a huge troll by doing damage in bad spots. Getting the Black Dark Nut charge there for the nip. Let's see if he gets the second one. No red Dark Nut charge, but really fast kill on the 2nd red Dark Nut and a charge for the 3rd one. That was a beautiful Dark Nut fight by Black. Wow. Crazy. Back to Vadi 2. Yeah, so you can just start shooting rocks down at you. You can send those purple bush things to block your charging squares. It's just very annoying. You do have to shoot a bow at the surrounding eyeballs, and those will always be in a set pattern, either top, bottom, left, or right. But which one of those the vulnerable ones will be is random, and it'll never be the same ones twice in a row. So Crow actually did get the 3-cycle there, very nice, and didn't really get trolled by Vadi either. So at this point, Crow, no, I won't say anything. He's got a fairy though. He's got a fairy, I'll just say that. Vadi 1 for Black. Very nice Vadi 1 fight. Yeah, so after Vadi 2, you rescue Zelda, but then Vadi tries to bring down the mountain. And you have to escape the Mines of Moria, where you are confronted by Vadi 3. Vadi 3 is less of a troll than Vadi 1 and 2, but the blue balls phase is a little bit garbo. Wow! Black getting trolled by Vadi big time there with those things. I was told recently that you have to charge your clones from right to left, because if you do left to right, sometimes that can happen where you slash at the vulnerable eyes and nothing happens. But big time troll from Vadi 2 there against Black. Very unfortunate. Yeah, Vadi 3, you have to wait for him to put his arms underground, and then you can flip them over with the cane. Really cool thing about the Vadi fights in this game is that you use so many different items. You use the Gust Jar, you use the bow, you use the lantern, you use the cane. So many different items. But yeah, you have to flip the arms over and then go inside them as a Minish to kill the vulnerable eye, and then blow them up. And after that, you enter the blue ball phase, where you just play tennis, classic Zelda stuff. You can manipulate Vadi to always do the blue ball attack if you basically stand in front of him. His other attack is a lightning attack, and if you do the manipulation properly, then this fight is not really a big deal, and if you don't miss any of the blue balls, which Quo hasn't quite done yet. Then, yeah, but if you do miss one of the blue balls, then he starts using lightning attacks, and just everything goes downhill. And Quo done. So he gets gold split against Vadi. Definitely didn't let it down there. So that's a 1:48.53 on his splits with an SRL time of 1:49.01. And the SRL time is a little bit different because we start the race with a reset, whereas their splits, they start on file select. So that's why the time difference is there. But GG to Quo. It's a sick run. Very, very good run by Quo. The funny thing is that RaceBot's not saying that's a PB for Quo. I'm just going to double check his PB real quick, because it should. And it is a PB. I don't know what RaceBot's doing. Alright, anyway, Vadi 3 here for Vlack. Our silver medalist in the run. Looks like Vlack swagging out, doing portal items with the cane. It doesn't do anything, but it looks kind of funky, so shoutouts to him. Maybe he'll do some swag. Quo didn't do any swag, understandably, because he was on PB pace. But Vlack now probably knows he's lost and is just having some fun. He might end up killing Body with the bomb. We'll see. Who knows? Anything's possible. Vlack swagging out with a spin attack deflection. Unless that's his actual setup, I don't know. Okay, oh, he does equip bombs, but he doesn't have any. No, he won't get the bomb kill, but Vlack wants to. Because he equipped them. But no bombs in his inventory. But Vlack does finish there. Yeah, with SRL time of 1:51.33. So GG to both runners. Let's do that. Sounds like Quill is up for an interview in a couple of minutes. He probably has to go to the bathroom or something. Sure, I will then talk about what this means for the rest of the tournament. So with that win, Quill will carry on in the winner's bracket. He will be up against Darky Squid, round 4. So that's quite something. Meanwhile, Vlack will fall down to the loser's bracket, where he will proceed to stomp me. Yeah, his next opponent is me, and that will be the end of the tournament for him. But we'll see how that goes. Hello, Quo.
Hi.
How you feeling? That was a sick run.
It was a mix of a lot of things. For sure.
But that is a PB though, right?
It is by over a minute and a half.
Yeah, congratulations.
Which is good because Le Grand just bopped me like
I know, I was gonna mention
hours
that.
ago.
Yeah, he's like, I'll bop the Quo again. He's like, nope, not this time.
Sorry. Yeah. But yeah, my early game was like absolutely terrible.
Yeah, I mentioned that. I was like, this is not good. What is happening?
Yeah. Let's see what happened. Yeah, I don't know. It was a sloppy beginning. I guess I had like
a lot of stuff, like falling off the lily pad.
Yeah.
Not pulling mushrooms far enough.
Yeah, fell into the water like 8
like
times,
that.
I think.
Yeah.
I think it was nerves because like I was definitely expecting to lose this race. Because like before this run, so my sum of best just dropped, but before this run, Vlack's PB was better than my sum of best. So like 9 times out of 10 he should have won. Halfway through, and I saw his splits were like really red, so I guess something bad.
Did you weren't watching his stream at all?
Or no, I had everything closed. I had
okay, yeah, just focusing.
Yeah.
He died in Mount Krenel.
Okay.
Yeah. In the room right before where you use the bomb to hit the switch across the bridge.
Okay.
So he lost like 2 minutes there or something.
Yeah.
That's one of the worst spots in the game to die, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
So yeah, it didn't go so great for him. And then of course, you get the 0 ink for.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, that didn't help him out either. He didn't get 2 ink, but didn't get the 0 ink either.
Yeah, actually, I got a 35-second gold on these splits for Octo because I've never gotten a 0 ink with these splits. Like, on one hand, I'm happy, but on the other hand, like, the beginning of this run was crap. I had the really bad mistake in Fortress of Winds where I, like, fell down.
Oh, yeah, I remember that too.
I was trying to do the fast strat and just...
Yeah, geez. So you could have been, like... That could have brought you up to possibly even 4th place if your early game was cleaner.
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe.
Like, I got the Canadian record.
Canadian record, yo!
Oh, damn. Wait, sorry? We're spot for... Oh, yeah. Well, the intro was just real sloppy. There was that really one bad mistake in Fortress of... Other than that, my Palace of Winds wasn't great. It wasn't terrible either. I actually set up my Ocarina glitch. I think I actually got the right frame, but I didn't have the Ocarina equipped, so I jumped instead.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I think like that could have been another 30 seconds because I'm pretty sure I got the right frame on that one. But yeah, overall, like this past week and a half, I like grinded every single segment of the game because I knew that Vlack was not an easy opponent.
Yeah, time to get good.
Yeah, and I saw him, which is like sort of flattering because he considered me a worthy opponent. So I'm sort of sad that he had that mistake. But on the other hand, my Cave of Flames Enter, I golded by like 5 seconds on that one, so that was really good. We spoke about Temple Droplets, 0 ink, that's really good. My Boomerang split, I also golded, but that's because I changed the timing on the Ocarina split, so now I split a little later, so I think that's a fake gold, but it was still a good split altogether. And my Vadi fight was really clean, because in my PB
Vadi fight.
Yeah, in my PB actually, I had a perfect triple Dark Knight fight, and then this one I didn't. So Vadi 1, 2, and 3 went all like really, really well, which is why I got like a 10-second gold. Could have been maybe 20 if I had gotten the perfect Dark Knight fight, but we'll save that one for another time.
It's actually a good question in chat. Are you playing on the Game Boy Advance or emulator, or how are you playing?
I'm playing on the Virtual Console version. Originally, I was on emulator, and then I switched to console. Back when we banned emulators. Literally, the only reason I switched to Virtual Console was because of the save states that are like integrated into it that make practicing like 1,000 times better. If not, it's boy.
Doesn't matter how many times you practice that Ocarina glitch, though. The Palace of Winds Ocarina glitch.
Yeah, well,
Vlack was practicing that for like the entire time before the race started.
Yeah.
No, he did not. It's not easy.
No, like I have, well, in quotation marks, I have a consistent setup that's like.
Yeah, I think he was trying to do that as well.
Okay.
So.
And stealing my strats too.
Well, it's your fault for sharing them.
I mean, sharing is
caring. Could have saved it till after the race.
I could have. Yeah, I could have, but.
So how do you feel about going against Darky next? Feels bad?
I mean, his last race was a 151. His one before that was a low 148. So, like, if you average that out, that's like a mid 149. So if I keep up this pace, yeah. Although I assume he's also been. Oh, actually, Darky's in school now he doesn't have that much time, so I might have a chance.
Oh, there you go. Schedule that race for the optimal time.
Yeah. All right, I'll ask when his exams are, and right at the end of exams.
Plus, he doesn't have the bracelets world record anymore, so
That's true. He got bopped.
not even the best.
Not even the best. Yeah, I think he'd just say no at that point, though, which is the problem. Oh, man. It should be a good race, though.
Nah, I think that's about it for me.
Before we leave, there's a hot new video of The Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap.
Hot new video.
I don't have chat open, so I can't post it. But if you search Minish Cap World Record History, I think we're at like 1,400 views last I checked, which is pretty good because the video came out last week. Good times, good times.
Yeah, if you want to hear about the legend of Atros, then definitely check out that video. Because I had no idea who the person was.
Yeah, actually, I was talking to him about that, and he's like, I'm really happy that the first thing people hear about me is I say the F word about 15 times in a row. Because we use his like octo thing. That is after. Ocarina Glitch is like early. Oh, wait, actually. Yeah, no, it should be after. Yeah, it was a good time. Did you notice anywhere I could improve? Right.
Well, the early game, man.
All right,
That's
okay.
terrible.
I mean, salt in the wound. Yeah. These splits should be fun to run against. Somewhat. Yeah, no, I think that's about it. I saw I had like 25 viewers when I checked in after my stream, so thanks for everyone who watched.
Yeah, so good luck in the next round then, Quo.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah, thanks. No problem.
Yeah, as always, it seems. Ooh, let me check real quick.
Could host Mr. Shasta. He's playing Phantom Hourglass right now. I don't know if that's a top tier Zelda game, but
100 years. Actually, Ben has been grinding Phantom Hourglass is pretty good. Mikami is streaming. Yeah, him and Trev are the only Zelda speedrunners I follow, but Trev already has like 500 viewers, so. Wait, was Ben streaming? Oh, okay.